Curious Vedanth, and welcome to my podcast. Today, my guest is Juliana Chan, who is an architect and an artist. She is the founder of NS Chan Studio and is also the vice president of Artists Society of Singapore. Hi, Juliana. Welcome to my show.
Hi, Vida. Thank you. Thanks for inviting me to your show. It has been honored to have you to interview me, and I've seen all your other podcasts. They are really informative and interesting.
Thank you. So, Juliana, I am curious to know what do you do at NS Chan Studio?
All right. Okay. When I started this studio, I'm thinking of actually offering multiple design solutions that ranges from architecture, interior design, graphics illustration, and also paintings and artworks, so that I believe that projects are not just a one-sided kind of assignment, but it helps to give a more holistic design solution for people. And I think this is actually what I enjoy doing. So I hope that through this studio, I can start this passion as a business, but also more meaningful work in my career.
Why did you want to start this studio?
Being an architect, which is my main career, I find that sometimes it is also important to combine several artistic traits together. So that's why I wanted to set up one studio that actually not restricted to just one type of service. It's not just architecture alone, not just interior design, but sometimes also there are many other creative things we can do. So I mean, personally, I like to do all sorts of artworks, all sorts of creative work. So I wanted something unique.
Interesting. I like your paintings.
Thank you, thank you.
You are an artist and an architect. How different or similar are the two fields?
Yes, indeed. These two fields, they have both differences and similarities. Differences is that artworks are actually quite two-dimensional in the sense that they started off with ideas, and we do it in a 2D kind of product like painting. You have this freedom of creating various imageries and illustrations that are not restricted by any physical means, and but architectural is different because the client that you deal with, the solutions that your architectural work brings are very real, is to solve social problems, environment problems. Very much attention is on the user. But for artists, it is more, I wouldn't say it is self-centered, but it's more of a very unique personal ideas. So on this aspect, they are actually on two different ends. However, the similarity is that actually both of them comes, or rather starts with having an idea, a concept, and then bringing that to realization. And this process are both creative, and they share similar design philosophy. From 2D artwork, actually, it helps to clear some of the mindset, simplify concepts, whereas in terms of architecture, some of these concepts can be realized in many layers and dimensions because it is a very 3D space we are talking about. And also the similarity is that both sides, both fields, all we can actually bring forth our idea to people. We can bring positive ideas across, to motivate people, and especially so during this COVID period where we know that human emotions are very fragile. I think that's what humans are. So through both architecture and art, they can actually play a very important role to create good ideas and inspire people to look forward more in life.
Do you like architecturing? Is it fun?
I think architecture itself is a very complex uh, career because it is not just doing design work, it's not just doing creative work. More of the time is being spent on dealing with human beings, on how to manage the project. So a lot of people thought that architecture is just designing um, beautiful pictures, beautiful materials, but not so. That is actually a small part of the job. Most of the time is how to bring the ideas to be successfully created, dealing with the owners, the client, and the many other contractors and workers together to make this happen. And this process is more like a business, it's more like human and project management. So this is the part where it is very, very different from just doing artwork, where it is mostly contained within yourself and some assistant. But architecture is a commercial business itself, where anything you do can impact the cost, the successful the how successful things can complete, how in the end people can use the space. So the the implication it's very complicated and it's more serious.
I have seen your paintings and sketches in your website. Like I just mentioned, they are so realistic. How did you learn to draw and paint like that?
Oh, thank you. Yes. Personally, I started off with realistic style, which is something that I like because I think when I started to learn about art, I am very much influenced by the older European artworks, which is on the classical style, which is very realistic, and I quite admire the level of technique they have. So at the start, I actually would start from aiming to be doing realistic artwork, so that it also challenges my knowledge and techniques. Of course, when I started learning to draw and paint, actually it's on my own. I would say I'm self-taught by copying, by learning how others do. So last time we actually do not have internet, so we rely a lot on art books done by the masters, step by step how they draw and sketch out things. And that's where I also try to learn from there. So that is my starting point.
What is Artist Society of Singapore? What is your role in that?
Okay, Artist Society of Singapore is a small, non-profitable art society that we have set up. There are actually many art societies, and we are one of them in Singapore. It started off with a teacher who is also an artist himself. I get to know him when I was in university, and he's actually from China, but he stays in Singapore for a very long time, and he wanted to increase the awareness of art in Singapore. So we have a few of us actually joined him to set up a small art society. And what we usually do in that is we actually treat art as a serious hobby. So we will paint together or draw together every weekend. However, when there are events, we will actually organize exhibitions or gatherings with the other societies. We collaborate together every year. So, since I'm also the vice president in this society, I have to actually play a part to together with my community team to look into all these logistics and to manage the events and exhibitions.
A 7-year-old child like me, will I be able to join the Artist Society of Singapore?
Oh, definitely. Actually, our society has no age limit. We have as young as 7 to 8 years old to as elderly as 50 plus years old, because we are not taking this as a commercial. We are doing art purely for passion, but we take it more seriously in the sense that we will have to train everyone from the academic foundations, like how to draw, how to hold your pencil, all these things properly done right from the first foundation until to the end. So there is a proper program that that we actually treat each and every student according to his or her potential, so that in the most effective way to train the person to be a good artist. So technique is definitely the first thing that we have to make it right before we talk about being creative. So yes, definitely for young kids like you, actually is the best time to start being engaged in learning, drawing the academic way from the beginning.
Do you have to paint in the Artist Society or can you color and draw?
Okay, definitely we can paint and color and draw, but the thing is, because our society is taking art as a very serious hobby, so at the start it is not creating just pretty pictures, but really training from the right way of holding pencil and shading. So it is not those the usual type of art shop that or art classes that you see elsewhere, but it's definitely different. It is not like very interesting at the start for some of the children, because usually the first lesson is spending hours on how to draw pencil strokes the right way. Like I said, we are doing it academically, not for fun. So if you are taking art very seriously or to be a very good artist, this is definitely we have to take it seriously. Um, it is not just for fun. Yeah.
Okay, I'll think about it. Maybe I can.
Sure.
Many buildings have paintings displayed in them. Do you have your art in the buildings you design?
Okay. Definitely, you will see many commercial buildings with paintings. At the moment, I have not displayed any of my art in them, because while I'm handling the because for big projects or big buildings like this, they have their own art consultant to buy large scale artworks from other places. And at the moment, I'm only doing a small scale oil painting. So unless they approach me to specially paint something that fits to their size, at the moment, not yet. However, in my job as an architect, we will actually work with other artists to ensure that to help the owner to select artworks, rather than being to produce one from my side. However, in smaller scale residential projects like interior design, that is likely that we can do that. Right now, I have found some of the interior projects whose owner are looking at my art services as well to actually commission me for doing artworks that can fit to their house.
Wow, you're famous.
No, thank you, thank you.
You're welcome. What is digital art? How do you do it? Can a kid like me learn digital art?
All right, definitely you can. For digital art, it is mainly using computer softwares to create images. And right now, in this era, there are many softwares available out here. Um, Definitely one of the popular ones you probably will heard of is Adobe Photoshop. But there are also other softwares like Corel Painter, even the iPad, they have their own program like Sketch Pro or something like that to actually draw. So right now, this technology is so easily available that anyone, even young child like you, can actually start playing with all these softwares. And to even learn techniques, right, you can simply go online like YouTube or online classes to actually start learning on the basic, which is very lucky because in my time, there is no such thing as YouTube or like internet with so much resources. And we started off by reading books, you see. We have to rely on books itself to teach bit by bit on the basics. But right now, with internet, with videos, you can actually see how people draw it and you can see the effect immediately. It's so much more effective. So anyone can actually learn. So definitely a yes for you.
Okay, I will. Of all the artwork that you do, which is your favorite type of art?
Well, this is actually a tough question because I actually like a lot of I really like all types of artwork, but if I were to really choose, I would say at the moment I actually wanted to concentrate more on traditional painting methods. I used to start off from fine arts using pencil, paint, very traditional. Then after that, I actually go into digital art. And after a few years of doing that, I am now back to doing oil painting, pencil artwork again. So so now that during this generation where we are going so advanced into technology, somehow the traditional medium becomes more interesting, becomes more authentic in a way that on really playing with the material hands on. So I think right now I would say this is my current interest to improve and advance in my traditional artwork.
What is your favorite building in Singapore and why?
Okay, this question is also a very tough one because sometimes it's very hard to justify why is it your favorite because there's so many buildings in Singapore. There is like many thousands of them, and most importantly, actually is how meaningful these buildings are. So rather than saying favorite, I would say that um, the building that is still iconic and important in Singapore, it is still the integrated resort in along the Marina Bay Sands area because it actually contributed a lot to the skyline, the iconic skyline of Singapore. And this design is actually challenges a lot of architectural and engineering solutions. How they build so high and it's curved, and you have a cantilever platform at the rooftop. I think that is the beauty in it, and it actually helps in building Singapore's identity and our skyline. It's like a landmark. So I think that justify in that aspect why it is an important building in Singapore.
Interesting. What are your hobbies?
Okay, yeah, well, you know that my hobbies is all related to art. So other than doing art and artworks, painting, I would say I love listening to music because music is another form of art actually. I used to play some of the musical instruments, and their philosophy, their rhythm actually kind of relate to me in doing art, and especially those very meditative ones. So yeah, my hobbies is really revolve, or rather my life really revolve around art actually.
What made you choose to be an architect and an artist? As a child, what did you want to be?
I choose art at the start. As a child, I knew that I enjoy drawing. Actually, nobody asked me to, but I just started picking up pencil and pictures from books, and I started drawing and copying, and it started this way. So somehow I'm quite fortunate to have this as a hobby, and I continue it. And I thought that I maybe somehow be a kind of a art teacher or something that is related to art, but I had never known that what exactly I want to be other than doing art. So along the years in school, I actually kind of self-taught my art skills. And from there, I realized, hey, I like to draw buildings as well. I'm very interested in the architecture around me and how the building looks like, the details on the facade, until I realized, hey, actually, I might be interested to be an architect. So that's what made me took up the architectural course in university. So I think in a way I'm quite lucky and fortunate that from art it slowly brings me to other platform like architecture, and from there it brings me to interior design, while I'm still playing with like branding, with graphics design. So I would say that it is not consciously what I would choose to be, from from my heart, from my own passion, it brings me to where I am today.
Thank you so much for coming on my show.
Thank you, Vedas. I hope that my answers actually helps you to, uh, or rather, uh, introduce us and raise more awareness on art and architecture. And hopefully, maybe one day you will also join me in this journey.
Hmm? I will. Your answers are very nice.
Thank you. Thank you.
Dear listeners, follow my Facebook page, Curious Vedanth, to get updates on my upcoming episodes. To listen at leisure on your phone and get notified about future episodes, subscribe by searching for Curious Vedanth wherever you get your podcasts, such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, and many more. You can also listen to my show on curiousvedanth.com. Thank you for listening to Curious Vedanth, and don't forget to rate and leave comments